Observing this feed, a lone Russian combatant breaks protocol seeking shade under a tree, a fatal tactical error. He pulls out a cell phone, an active signal beacon completely blind to the lethal threat descending from the clouds. At altitude, a Ukrainian first-person view drone has already locked onto his signature. The platform drifts silently from his blind spot. The target remains fixated on his screen, ignoring the airspace. Complete loss of situational awareness. He hears nothing. The drone hovers to stabilize, then commits. A rapid dive, followed by a precise kinetic strike. In modern combat, static positions are death traps. The blast instantly reduces the nearby structure to smoking rubble. A secondary asset targets the entry point of a subterranean dugout, executing a direct hit. The shockwave reverberates through the trench line, but the structural opening holds. A follow-on strike is immediately ordered. The doorway caves in, yet we quickly detect signs of life. Two hostiles scramble out of the compromised position. One retreats while his wounded counterpart drags himself toward vegetation, collapsing under a tree to find relief. Fatigue is fatal. A third aerial asset acquires the casualty and closes the distance. We time these strikes to maximize psychological shock, leaving enemy remnants fragmented and disoriented. This is systematic aerial interdiction, a highly calculated strategy designed to paralyze adversary maneuvers and logistics. Across a barren, defilade-free grass field, an infantryman advances cautiously, completely blind to the persistent overhead surveillance tracking him. The drone maintains a continuous target track, matching his vector while awaiting the dynamic kill switch order. Suddenly, he spots the unmistakable silhouette. He engages with small arms, but unguided fire fails. The platform stabilizes, pitches down, and impacts. The target is neutralized as the debris settles. Exposed under the midday heat, another isolated hostile slowly navigates the arid, open grassland. Dehydrated and fatigued, he halts. He has no idea our optical sensors are actively mapping his every breath. Launching from a concealed ridge nearby, an isolated fighter attempts to cross the dry, exposed dead zone. Fatigue forces him to a halt, completely oblivious to the hunter-killer drone overhead registering his exact coordinates and movement. Over the horizon, we deploy a second platform to initiate its approach vector. Instinct makes him uneasy. He checks his gear, drinks from his remaining water, and scans the horizon, failing to check the sky. He assumes a prone position, eyes closed, entirely static. The drone descends within meters, hovering silently. Our operator waits, assessing if this is a ruse. No response. The pilot confirms target positive identification. We proceed immediately to kinetic impact. An infantryman uses a tree trunk for concealment, attempting to break our visual lock. But aerial reconnaissance is absolute. The pilot drops altitude, throttles forward, and impacts. He shifts to adjacent light foliage, but micro-drones negate conventional forms of cover. A tertiary unit moves in, executing a methodical sweep. It hovers inches off the deck, checking thermal and visual cues before delivering the coup de grace. In modern attrition warfare, detection equals destruction. These unmanned systems observe, wait, and ruthlessly finish the job. Our feeds detect a three-man squad navigating an urban ruin. They seek shelter inside a compromised brick structure to hide, but our overhead assets have already logged their coordinates. Moments later, the strongpoint is instantly demolished. A survivor flees to an alternate bunker, but our pilot patiently tracks his vector before striking. Analyzing further footage, a combatant emerges from a ruined frame. A fresh drone begins its hunt. Escape is mathematically impossible. Fortification provides only a brief pause. Along this exposed route, an enemy infantryman moves cautiously, totally unaware of his imminent demise. The drone closes in cold, mechanical, and absolute. The target reacts too late, firing a frantic, ineffective burst from his rifle. The aerial platform evades, climbing rapidly. A second defensive shot misses completely. The weapon system enters a deliberate holding pattern, circling like an apex predator, locking down its target. It initiates a terminal dive. Kinetic impact achieved, leaving the combatant instantly incapacitated. We see an isolated combatant advancing along a tree line, highly vulnerable without infantry support. Above, an unmanned aerial asset advances silently. Sensing imminent threat acquisition, the combatant flees, but muscle cannot outrun a locked thermal tracking system, closing the gap with absolute precision. A combatant seeks brief shelter blind to the fact he is already targeted on screen. The attack drone establishes its final vector, descending into a steep, high-velocity terminal strike. Inside a high-density urban sector, aerial reconnaissance identifies an active enemy drone command post. Masked by thick forest cover, our crews prep a heavy kinetic counterstrike. Operators secure the launch rail assembling wings and primary fuselage. We secure a high-explosive payload to the airframe, verify all systems, and arm the fuse. The platform is loaded, the propulsion unit ignites, and it catapults into the air, climbing through trees toward programmed GPS coordinates. The objective is clear. A single surgical, structural strike. The asset impacts the structural target, triggering an immediate massive secondary blast. Heavy smoke plumes rise as the primary load-bearing walls fail. The suspected enemy command room is completely neutralized, reduced to smoking concrete ruins and absolute, non-viable structural wreckage. In modern conflict, fortification cannot save you from persistent overhead surveillance. There is nowhere left to hide.